Well, hello and thanks for tuning in as we fill you in on what's coming up for fall 2021 for the student ministries here at campus. Now, first off, on August 25th, we have our fall kickoff. This is for junior high and high school students at the church. We're going to be out under the tents, and it's going to start at 6:15. Be sure to send your students hungry. We're going to have food. We're going to do some different kinds of grilled cheeses, which should be fun. We got ones that we're calling the classic grilled cheese, the jacked up grilled cheese, my favorite name, the cheesy pig. You can figure out what might be on that one. So it's going to be fun. We're going to have a good time, have some food, hang out, do some fun stuff together. That's on the 25th, 6:15 at the church. Now, not only do we have that, but also we're going to be back on church every week after that for our high school and junior high groups. Now, one thing that's a little different this year from last year we were under the tent the entire time. This time we're going to be back in our rooms. So high school is going to be up in the high school room, A203, and junior high is going to be up in the junior high room, B207. Again, on those nights we'll have, just like we did before, we'll have time for hanging out, time for a lesson, time for a game, time for small groups, all those things put together. It's going to be a great time, and it's going to start the very next week after kickoff. Now, all throughout the last year, one thing we were looking at when COVID hit was trying to figure out how do we keep doing the things that are important. So we came up with a very simple target we were trying to hit. We wanted to connect students to God and to each other. That was our target before, that was our target through COVID, that's our target now as we're kind of coming out of this season. We want to connect students to God and to each other. One of the things that we saw that was really useful for that was that small group model that we were doing. Now remember, during COVID, we were doing like with high school every other week, on-site and off-site. Now we also know that during COVID, we didn't have a lot of competition for time, so it was a lot easier to do. Now as we're coming out of that season, we were trying to figure out how do we keep hitting that target? How do we keep connecting students to God and to each other? Again, knowing that there's more expectations on time, more expectations just on busyness, all this kind of stuff's going on. So we will be meeting on site every week, except with high school. We want to try a little experiment. The last Wednesday of September and the last Wednesday of October, we're going to have something that we're calling Connection Nights. Now those will take place at their small group leader's house. The last Wednesday of September, the last Wednesday of October at their small group leader's house. Now we'll arrange for the time so you can drop off and pick up and do all those things, and we'll still have junior high will be on site, but those will be special nights for junior high as well. Again, focusing on connection. How do we connect the students, especially to each other? We knew that it was going to be different, but that was the target we wanted to continue carrying forward. And whatever it took to do that, we want to keep focusing on connection. Now, when it comes to the teaching series, the way the fall is going to look, we're going to do several little mini-series. The first one we're going to do is one called Who Do You Think You Are? And that's all about identity. We're going to look at what the world, what culture says about who we are, and then also what God's Word says about who we are. So week by week, we'll just kind of build on that idea of who are we? Where's our identity found? Our second series is one that's going to be called Learn or Repeat. This is going to focus on church history. And just looking at the history of our church, of the Christian church, and what exactly has taken place throughout the different eras and what we can learn from those different eras. It's based on the idea that we've heard before of, if you don't learn from the past, you're doomed to repeat it. So what lessons can we glean from the past, can we bring forward so that we don't have to repeat them? What can we learn about those who have gone before us? The next series is one that's going to be called More Than Thankful. This is going to focus on that idea of just not only being thankful, but what does it mean to actually give thanks? To be people that actually take action, more than just an attitude, but an action of thankfulness. And then finally, we have our Christmas series that we'll do in December that's called A Thrill of Hope. We're going to be focusing in on that time and just looking again at the gospel, at the Christmas story, about how amazing this thing is, that the hope that we have in Jesus, and how thrilling that really should be to us. Now, of course, when it comes to events, we also have some of those planned. And we're going to do things a little bit different. What we're going to have big group events. Our first one coming up is on September 22nd. It's United Prayer and Worship. It's going to take place at the outdoor campus of The Well. And what this is it's all the different mini area youth groups that are going to come together to unite for a night of prayer and worship. We're excited about this. Several area youth pastors, we've been working on this together, and we're excited to see what's going to take place. We're anticipating maybe a couple thousand students will be there. So we're really looking forward to that. It's going to be September 22nd. Another big event that we have on the calendar is in November 20th, something called Youth Fest. This is going to take place at Cornerstone Church downtown. It's going to be an all-day event with speakers, with fun, with a concert that's going to take place, all kinds of stuff, again, for the area youth to come together. So those are a couple of the big things we have. Now we're also going to have different events that will be guys events or girls events or small group events or class events. We're going to do some different ones different ways, again, with the goal of getting people to connect to each other. Again, our goal is connection. Our goal is to get students to connect to God and to each other. That's what we're focusing on, that's what we're looking at, and we are excited to see what God has in store this fall. Again, looking at the past year, the past 18 months, a lot of that we didn't see coming. A lot of good came from that, a lot of bad came from that, and it was just one thing after another that we were trying to figure out, all of us. But the whole time through it all, we knew that God was in control. And the same is true going forward. We don't really know what the next day, the next month, the next year holds, but we know that God does. So we're excited to see what God has planned. We're excited to see what God will do. And we are so blessed, once again, that you are allowing us to be a part of your children's faith journey. So we thank you for that. We're looking forward to being back on site. And don't forget, the 25th, kickoff night, we're going to have a great fall.